What was that first year like for you when you quit? Like when you got into recovery, started going to support groups?
Very tough. I
Mm,
can't sugarcoat it. I mean, for myself personally,
sure.
it took me, I would say, a couple of years to,
Okay.
to clear my head
Okay.
because I'd done so much damage. Don't forget, I was an addict for over 20 years
Mm,
as well. I quit when I was 33
okay.
and experimented with drugs and alcohol since about 10. So it was over 20 years, but I had a lot of unresolved trauma I had to deal with when I got into recovery as well. So, I mean, but it does get easier, it does get better, but you've got to be committed because I tell you what, Joel, it will be the hardest thing you'll do in your whole entire life is to remain sober. And even now, I have still some other, I can get addicted to caffeine and sugar, for
Mm,
example.
sure.
And I've basically cut sugar out as well.
Nice. Nice, dude.
Yeah, but the
That's
caffeine
awesome.
I'm okay with.
Okay.
I detox from caffeine every once in a while. I stop
Okay.
caffeine and then I have a few cups. It's no problem
Okay. That's
with
good.
me. And even food, I, I, I eat very healthy now.
Nice.
I'm right up with my nutrition. The nutrition's important because I've
100%.
done a lot of research on nutrition and stuff like that. How nutrition can really improve your recovery if you have the
Definitely.
right nutrition in that. Yeah,
Definitely. I was the same way. I found when I was eating like shit, even once I was sober, if I was eating
yeah, me
crappy, I
too.
still felt crappy. Yeah, even I'm like, wait, I'm
Yeah,
sober now. I shouldn't feel like this. As I'm like stuffing down a
yeah.
Big Mac, it's like, all right, maybe, maybe there's some
But
other things going
I,
on here.
I tell you what, that's okay for a time. And early recovery,
Sure.
just worry about the primary drugs. Just
Yeah.
eliminate
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and
Just work
through
on.
time, these addictions you'll eradicate through
Yes.
time.
Yep. I suggest that too, not to try to tackle everything at once because yeah, you're right. That first year is intense, especially if
Yeah,
you've been
because
using
I tell
weed
you
for a
what,
while.
this is the way I look at it. The alcohol and drugs saved my life at the time.
Mm,
It saved my
mm,
life.
okay.
So when I got sober from alcohol and drugs, the unhealthy eating and the other addictions, like I used to play like online games for like the best part of a whole day,
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Gamer.
that helped. That helped. That helped my recovery initially, but through time, the 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 more clarity you have,
Yeah.
and for me, the spiritual growth, the
Yes.
psychological, emotional growth, when that comes in, you'll naturally you'll let go of all these other addictions to where I'm at now. I mean, I'm also practicing celibacy.
Oh,
I've been practicing
nice.
celibacy for 2 years. If you don't mind me mentioning,
No, man. We
no,
definitely talk
I've
about
been
sex addiction
practicing
and
that.
stuff.
Yeah,
So
100% because it's very important because celibacy is purity, unless it's the right partner.
right.
So I've been celibate for 2 years. I'm
Wow,
basically on
that's
monk
intense,
mode
man. Yeah.
at this moment.
I know. I'm thinking
Basically,
about the YouTube videos, how to go monk mode.
yeah, yeah, and it's very unhealthy to be in certain relationships if they're not built on the right premise.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard too because when you're in sobriety to meet people that are also sober, like besides support groups,
Mm-hmm.
and support groups are not a place to pick up partners, by the way. Don't, don't go in looking for
No,
to get laid at a support group. That's big red flag. So yeah, it's
mm-hmm.
my sponsor's working me on with me on this as well. Like once like I just gotta trust that universe will put higher power will put the person that's meant to be whether that exists or
Yeah,
not when the time is right. And I don't get to choose that. Like I get to obviously keep working on myself, taking action every day, but it takes a lot of the pressure off realizing that, hey, I
yeah.
don't need somebody. Which has been huge. And
No, and it can be codependency as well.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
we're probably trying to fill that void with sex and like sensual pleasure,
Hmm.
but really, what you're doing is you're creating an energetic spiritual tie with that partner. Also, that's why it can be, you have to be very careful who you're in
Yes.
a relationship with, because you create these cords.
Hmm.
You know, if I read a lot of stuff on brahmacharya.
Okay.
I've read a lot of stuff on that. It goes back to the ancient Eastern philosophies.
Mm.
They probably practice in a lot of countries like China, India. You know, you in these cultures, it's probably been handed down for generations and generations. Whereas in the West, where our ideas are messed up around these taboo subjects, let's say, when they should be openly discussed.
For sure.
But I think society's changing. I think a lot of people are awakening
Yes.
to their sovereignty.
Yes.
They're awakening to who they truly are. They're not just a physical being. They're a spiritual being in this physical shell. You know,
I
and we
love that.
have to we have to guard it because it's sovereign and it belongs to. We're an aspect of God. Think of God as a universal fabric. We're an aspect of that universal fabric, which is God. You know, but when we don't obey the universal laws, we suffer. We suffer
Hmm.
as a result. We suffer that
Definitely.
karma. You
Karma.
know,
100%. Yeah.
karma as in cause and effect.
Yes, yes. Not
So
this guy with the whip standing over you, waiting for you to mess
yeah,
up and then whoosh. Bad boy. No. 100%
no,
what you just said.
nothing,
Yeah, very
nothing
cause
like
and
that.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
nothing. What you would hear in the, the being brought up in the Catholic faith, stuff like that,
Yes.
Catholic guilt, where
Dude,
you go to hell
bro.
if you disobey God. It's not like God's a loving God. He's not a judgmental God. We and ourselves are judging ourselves.
Mm,
You know.
yeah. Did you grow up Catholic?
My mother's side was Catholic. My father's side
Okay.
was Protestant, but still
Okay.
Christianity.
Okay. Still
It's
Christianity.
just
Yeah.
it's slightly different branches of
Okay.
Christianity. You know, because the Catholics, well, the Protestants protested against the Catholics, so the Protestants used to be Catholics, but they branched away. You'd have to read the about the Protestant faith through Martin Luther.
Okay.
It was founded, I think, in Germany. The
Oh
Protestant
wow.
faith, you know. So yeah, well, the UK is a Protestant country,
Okay.
you know. So
Well, that's cool. I mean, I grew up Catholic as well, so I know that
yeah,
Catholic guilt and thinking that you got to be perfect and you can't be human. So I love that you're talking about the spiritual side of things and how it has played a part of your life. It's really cool.
yes, it's doctrination. That's all it is. It's doctrination. I came away from these belief systems a long time ago.
Hell
I
yeah.
was never comfortable with them.
Uh-huh.
I was never comfortable with them in the first
Yeah,
place.
I'm with
I
you.
don't believe in organized religion, but I love reading about Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity. I love the
Nice.
original texts, the original text or the original scriptures from all these religions. They've got a lot of truth to them, but man has distorted the writings and the teachings
Hmm.
of these faiths. So that's where the issues come in. But each and every single one of them have got elements of truth in them, and whatever works for you or anyone, that's fantastic.
I love
It's
that.
like it's like in recovery, each and every single one of us has got a different style of recovery, and if whatever works for you works for you. You know,
Yeah. That's a great
that's
piece
all
of
I can say.
advice. Yep. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think a lot of people get turned off from the support groups
yeah,
because they hear the word God and they're like, "Oh man, this is just another
yeah,
religion." But once you dive in
Yeah,
and realize
absolutely.
that you get to do what, I mean, again, universe, higher power, you get to choose whatever you want to guide you. You can even be atheist or agnostic and still
Yeah,
get
yeah.
sober. Yep.
You've got the agnostic meetings and the atheist
Yeah.
meetings as well. But you can also just believe in your higher self, or you can believe in nature.
Nature. Oh, that's a beautiful one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's,
nature. That's good enough for a lot of
yeah.
people.